Hey guys, Ben with Dissent Off-Road. We actually got two builds we're going to show off to you today. Hey guys, Ben with Dissent Off-Road. We actually got two builds we're going to show off to you today, which is pretty cool. We wrapped both these up about the same time. So we got a 2025 LX700h and then a 2025 GX550 Overtrail. So we'll start with the GX550. Actually, we've done quite a few of these now, but they've all been white. So we're excited to do the earth color on the GX. Came out killer. So starting in the front, we've got our high clearance front bumper. Again, this has all the features that you would typically see in Dissent off-road products. So we got good winch access here. We've got a come up winch tucked up under there. We've got the ventilation or the air scoops for the intercoolers. We've got our triple fog lights to match the headlights. All of our cameras, safety systems still function. We tie in with the factory Overtrail skid plates. Then we've got our recovery points down here. Agency 6 winch shackle. And that kind of finishes up the front. So this whole truck, we did the rigid lighting package on the LX. We'll show you that. We did the Baja Designs lighting package. But let's walk around the side. We'll show you kind of suspension, wheels, tires. Again, also point out both of these are very similar builds. They're both on 74 weld portals, both on 37-inch tires. This one here, we've got a 37 12.5 Recon grappler on an Icon Recon Pro wheel. So that is a 18x9 plus 40 offset. Again, we've got the 74 weld portals on here, and we've got the full Icon stage 10, I believe, CD EV suspension setup, billet upper and lower rear control arms. And as you can see, we've added some Nytop carbon fender flares here. So again, with the high positive offset and these flares, our poke is really not too bad at all on this with the portals. So one thing I do want to show too is just how we tuck in the bottom of our bumper. I don't know if we've ever showcased that, but this is something not everybody does. We got a nice fender tie-in plate that ties in with the inner fender, seals that off, just a real clean look and protects those internals there nicely. As far as trimming goes, again, pretty easy with the 74 weld portals on a 37. Our bumper removes the front section that typically rubs. So, and then as far as cutting goes for the 37s with the portals, it's very minimal. So we take a bit off of this corner. You can see with the Nytop fender flares, we don't even actually have to cut into that flare. And then we tuck our fender liner and we remove some of that bracketry behind there. We have cut a little bit off the slider. Our new slider, we actually just made a change. So going forward from here on out, all sliders will be clearance for up to a 37. But if you got a previous gen slider or the older ones, you'll just have to nip the corner off here if you're running a 37. So we'll take that in and we'll show you the side, the back. So we've got our step slider, so that's a steel step slider, all bolt on. Up top, we've got our aluminum roof rack. We went a little more simple on this one. He didn't want a ton of lights. We've got the rigid single row light bar in the front. So last thing underneath here in the rear, you'll see our billet panhard bar from Icon, but we've also got the Overland exhaust from MagnaFlow. So again, this gives it a little nicer tone, a little better performance, but main reason is it tucks this up there real nice, gives you a nice black resonator, super clean install, doesn't hang down. So that's our go-to on the GX. Unfortunately, LX, we don't have any offerings for those yet, so hopefully MagnaFlow will start offering a kit similar to this for the LX in the future. So that about wraps it up on the GX550. We'll go ahead and show you the LX700h build we've got here. We've got a kind of a rare opportunity where they both finished up at the same time, so we can kind of show you a side-by-side as well. But yeah, let's walk over. We'll show you this one. So we've already done quite a few of the LX700h's, I think probably 5 or 6. All of them have been this color, so we're looking forward to doing some other colors on this, but this color does look killer. This one's got our low profile front bumper. A lot of people don't realize that we actually do offer a higher clearance version that looks more like the GX550. So check out our website, check out our build sheet, you'll see some. Most people on the LX700H have opted for the low pro bumper, which is what we have here, just because it keeps all the factory safety stuff, sensors in the factory location, so we're not messing with any of that. Just like the GX one, we've got the twin turbo, we got the intercoolers, so we've got ventilation, we got airflow scoops into our intercoolers. It also just kind of matches stylistically to the grille. We've got our Baja Designs lights on this whole build, so we got our triple fog lights, these are SAE. Got our 30-inch bar, come up 12.5, solo winch inside. And then you'll see we've custom coated all the Agency 6 gear all the way around in our gloss package to match the factory gloss black, along with our logo badges. So 74 well portals on both of these rigs, both on 37s, both on the same wheel, other than one's a satin, one's a gloss. But this one big difference between the two is the LX has the factory active height control. So with the portals, all of that remains fully functional. We're in high 1 mode, I believe now. So we can go lower, we can go higher, which is pretty cool feature on the LX. So we've also got our twin turbos, or our twin snorkels, sorry. So this is a twin turbo. We got 2 air boxes. So we got 2 snorkels. We've kind of continued that gloss package here on some of the trim pieces on the snorkels. We've got a Baja XL Sport linkable up top. So that's kind of been our go-to on these rigs. Looks real clean. And then we've got a Rome 180 awning on the side. Again, you'll see on our roof rack, so this is our no drill LX700, LX600 roof rack. So this clamps around the factory rails. You don't have to pull the headliner down. So we've got our gloss Agency 6 grab handles, our Baja Designs S2 Sport scene lights all the way around. So we got 3 of those on each side. So this particular build, this one's going to Mongolia. So they wanted to make sure they're carrying a full-size spare. So we did the low pro bumper in the front. But before we move around there, I guess we'll show you here. We've got our aluminum step slider on this one. So one difference between the two products, being that this one has the active height control, the hydraulic suspension. It can handle a decent amount of weight, but we want to try to keep everything as light as possible. So you see a little more aluminum being used on the LX versus the GX. So our step sliders are aluminum. These are our high clearance. Again, we got the full boat side underneath that covers the active height control hydraulic globes. And then the front bumper is steel due to just forming limitations, but snorkels are aluminum, roof rack's aluminum. And then on this one, we did the full high clearance rear bumper with dual swing out so we can get that full-size spare. So this bumper is a steel aluminum hybrid. The entire shell is aluminum. Some of the frame bracketry swing arms are steel. So we've got tire on the passenger side. And this again, full-size 37 12.5 Nitto trail grapplers, Icon Recon wheels in the gloss black versus the satin. Our same combo stop, tail, turn, reverse lights. This one we've got our Overland Pro panel and an Agency 6 long shovel in the earth color. And then the fuel, we got fuel in here. So we've got a 3-gallon, 2 gallons. This is a pretty versatile setup. You can put a lot of different things in here. They opted out to have fuel carried inside here. This is lockable. All of this stuff from here up is aluminum, so not crazy heavy. Then we've got our, you'll know, both of them, we've got the cameras relocated there, so backup cameras still function well. And then we've got our black Max Trax recovery boards right here. And then we've continued that gloss. So we've got a few gloss accents, our handles, some of this tray to kind of bring some gloss over to this swing arm since we got the gloss wheel on that one, tie it all together nicely. And then obviously we've got our parking sensors relocated into this bumper. Being this is a steel aluminum hybrid, you'll kind of see some of that hybrid action here as we've got our recovery point. So that's a full frame bracket that's steel, bolts on, the aluminum shell slips over that. And then we've got a bevel in those for soft shackles as we do with all of our recovery points. Other than that, we'll show you what we got on the roof and some of the lighting and wiring, and I think that would cover it on this one. All right, so up top, So same thing, we got the 3 lights on the side here. These are aimable, adjustable. We've got our Pelican 1755 long cases up top. This is their air case, so it's a lighter case, but also the slightly deeper case. We've just got the foam inside this one. They'll cut it out and put whatever. They haven't put any of their gear inside yet. And then over here, we've got our Star Bat for our Starlink Mini. Other than that, that's about all we have on the roof right now. I'm sure this customer will be slapping some other accessories up here. But this is what they've sourced it with currently. Let's show you switch panel. So same thing, we got a Switch Pro mounted right here. Super clean install, really blends with the factory switches. And then we do a similar setup under the hood, where we mount that. So we can't quite fit it fully under this cover, so we trim the cover around the terminal blocks. The reason we do the terminal blocks, so we've got our Switch Pro mounted there, is so normally the Switch Pros come with a main harness that you can tie your accessories to. Once you hardwire those in, you can't really switch your switches around. So with the terminal block, each one of these is designated to a certain switch on the dash. So let's say if I didn't like where I had my fog lights positioned on there, I could come in here and actually just swap those wires around and rearrange my switch panel, which is quite nice. So that is the biggest reason we do the terminal blocks versus just a hard wire. All right, so that about wraps it up on the builds here. So pretty cool. We've got, again, 2 almost identical builds, but we got the LX700H, GX550. Curious to know, we're gonna do a comparison here too, but curious to know your thoughts in the comments. Which one are you going with? If budget is not a factor, would you take the LX700H or the GX550? Let us know in the comments. Appreciate you watching.